Oh, landmines and jellyfish. Welcome back to Knives, I guess, and the clowns are about to lay eggs. But you and me, we are on a journey, nay, a quest, nay, a mission, nay, an odyssey to find a good Camillus. And to that end, we have taken a look at the choff, we have taken a look at the wedge, and we've taken a look at the keto. And of course, the wedge and the choff, they're okay for burner knives, and that keto was just raw garbage. One of the worst I've ever messed with. But the hunt continues, and to that end, I have been carrying the Camillus Cirque. And so what happened was I was at Blade Show, and I dropped by the SOG and Cold Steel booth to complain about the Terminus XR pocket clip issue, and I look over my shoulder, and I was like, ooh, new Camilli! Because, of course, you know, I looked on Amazon and everything I saw was just raw gas station garbage, like below flea market grade trash. So I saw these, I was like, these look nicer, so we'll give them a shot. And this thing cost me around $20. But let's take a look at what we're holding, and first things first, and most importantly, the pocket clip is tip up, which is the Lord's carry. We have got the G10 on the scales here. We have got what I'm assuming are stainless steel pivot collars right here, for lack of a better word, compact discs that were shrunk down and put on here to remind us of older times when things were simpler. And we got a flipper tab, so let's flick the bean. And we've got 2.75 inches of AUS 8 steel. So, one of the first things to make note of, all right, and this is a hair on the ridiculous side. For retail for this, buckle your underwear. $49. 49 American dollars. And on Amazon right now, the price is currently reduced to $37 to $40. No! Bad Camillus. Bad. You think about what you just did. This is a $20 knife all day long. Not a penny more. So let's dive into some of the things that I found while I was carrying it for this week. And one of the most notable things is the screw right here on the pocket clip is stripped out. All right, you got little jagged pieces of metal sticking out of here because someone sent this thing home. Like, they have got a stack of T6 bits completely twisted out of shape next to their bench. It's like, oh, we killed another one. Yeah, just, man, it is so jacked up. That wound up being a constant source of irritation. It did not let up. I was so sick of just brushing up against that thing, pulling it out of my pocket, having it hit my thumb, like, oh my god. If I were to continue carrying this, I would take some sandpaper, sand it down, and just leave the bright, shiny silver spot there, because I just would not care. The imitation substitute lanyard hole byproduct here. This was a bit of a nuisance too, because you got, you know, two pieces of steel sticking out of the dingus end of the handle here, instead of just the scales coming up a little further with a hole drilled in them. And that was also kind of really annoying, trying to get into my pocket to get stuff out from around it. Like, it was not enjoyable in the least. And of course, the web of your finger gets caught up in here, and it's not comfortable. And then, of course, you get your fingertip in here where the lanyard hole is, and it slides back this way. It feels like you're going to pinch yourself until you catch a small blood blister. Like, that's kind of hard to do. You got to do it a little bit intentionally, but when you're sitting there fidgeting with it and trying to get a feel for it and all that, you tend to notice it. And, like, if you're like me and you got that whole sensory thing where certain textures are super appealing and you just have to, like, sit there and mess with them, like, you wind up doing that a lot. I don't know about y'all, but that's kind of how I fidget. Not terribly enjoyable. Like, it's avoidable. It's not the end of the world in this one particular case, but there's a lot to not like about that. And the action, of course, is kind of slow. It feels a little bit gunky. It could probably use some lubrication and cleanup, but let's see if we can catch it. You can hear the lock. Like, the lock is not happy with life. It just, everything about this, it feels like kind of a massive fit, finish, and design failure. And it's like, it got so close, too. You know, this is another one of those where they got really close on the design, and they got almost there, and they're like, screw it, I give up. You know, it just, like, honestly, if I would have been handed the reins on this from this point and finished this thing off, it could have been so much better with just such small changes. You know, bring the G10 all the way out here. Don't destroy your T6 screwing down the pocket clip. Don't do that. Lubricate it a little bit better, make sure the action's not overdone, and make sure the lock works smoothly. Like, it's a lot of things in one place at one time, but none of these are big things, and that's kind of what gets me with these, is, you get these knives like this, and just enough small things are wrong at one time that it just ruins the whole experience. Now, I will say, outside of like a couple of minor discomfort issues and all that, I was able to work with it just fine. I fed it some cardboard, and you've got a decent hollow grind here, but it's fairly thin blade stock going into a flat, and of course the edge of the flat's a little bit softened, so it did handle cardboard reasonably well. It took a little bit more pressure than I like to cut through it, but it still cut through it. Really, really long cuts through large pieces. I had to grab it and kind of pull the cardboard through just because it did take more pressure than I'd like, especially getting down towards the bottom, but it did it. Doing the plastic on the pallets, it cut that all right, but I think that was the burr that was left from the factory doing the work more so than the actual edge. Let's get some paper and take a look at this thing. Okay, that's a fairly clean piece. So, I mean, the edge, definitely not the best from the factory. It's got problems. It's again, if this had a $20 price tag on it, it would be okay, because that's still a working edge. That is still an edge you can do a lot of work with and be just fine and never know the difference. All right, but you hit that $50 price mark, my expectations are a lot higher. I know $50 is still in the budget range, and some people will accept some buffoonery at $50 because they're used to like $300 knives, but no. Sorry, for a lot of us, $50 is a pretty big swing to take. Yeah, this ain't it, Chief. For $50, I expect a lot better in the fit, the finish, like the function. I expect to not have problems like this baked into it. Like, this is another one. If you were at a gas station and you saw this, it would be perched at the very, very top of the shelf, and it would probably be bumped up to about $60. Because it does look nicer than it is until you get it in your hands. And, like for me, I like the design cues on this. I like this G10. I like the color. I like this. All right, this is a kind of unique feature. I don't see it on other stuff. It's just cool. But, at the end of the day, none of this is worth the extra price. I mean, again, $20 knife at best. But let's take a look at the edge and see where she sits on the tester. We're going to do one that I set up myself and a pre-manufactured test clip. Let's see how close I'm getting on this, because I'm still practicing with this thing. I'm still practicing, and it may be a different. So we got a 236. That doesn't seem like that's too far out of place. That 236 is getting up out of the utility razor range into new high-end cutlery, which still I don't quite agree with that. I feel like new high-end cutlery should be significantly sharper than that, but that's what the handy-dandy chart says with the thing that you get. So let's see what we got here. 264. So I got that one loaded up good. Like, I got that tension right. So yeah, like you can see the number's fairly high. And again, if this was a $20 knife, that would not be a big deal. It really wouldn't. But for this being $50 retail, and even at $37 to $40, that's kind of unacceptable, And like I took this out of the package, and my hope was that it was going to perform better than I expected it to. My gut told me pretty much exactly this was going to happen. It told me exactly what to expect, because we've handled multiple Camilli. None of them are going to live up to the lever lock, unfortunately. And, Camillus got bought out, and they just got a running start and slam dunked the quality in the toilet. So we are going to continue looking for a good Camillus. I'm sure eventually we're going to find one. I have got a couple more picked out. There's even a Camillus axis lock to take a look at. I do this for you guys because I love you. But, yeah, so if you saw the videos on this and you see this on Amazon or something like that, and you think, hey, that looks cool, especially with the old compact disc right here. Yeah, skip it. If you can get it down to like $18-20, then that's a fair deal. A penny more than that? Absolutely not. So, I think that is enough griping about this thing. Expectations were realistically met. Hopes were not. So the quest continues. But all that being said, Thanks for looking at my crap. Subscribers, you guys are awesome. Y'all keep coming in. I appreciate you so much. If you haven't subscribed, please do. We do have giveaways coming up, and we do have live streams, regular content, plenty of activities. Comments, I love some feedback. Let me know what you think about this thing. Let's have it. And all that being said, y'all have a nice day.